as fast as this year has come to a close, so will next year, I suspect, and you'll be starting over again, and you don't want to just keep adding debt upon debt. Just really stop and, if you can, think about what it is you want to get out of the holiday season. Can also cut down on some of the stress that people feel, and this idea of it has to be perfect or memorable, or children remember how they feel probably more than the gifts. So make it feel wonderful and not stressful.
As the holiday season kicks into high gear, most consumers say they will spend about the same as last year on gifts. However, a new survey released by the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insights and Analytics shows that young adults, 18 to 24 years old, are the most likely to increase their spending this year. NRF President and CEO Matthew Shea says that Generation Z and Millennials have spent time carefully researching gifts for their friends, family, and themselves, and are ready to begin knocking out their shopping lists. According to the NRF survey, 54% of consumers plan to spend about the same as last year, with 24% planning to spend more. 46% of those in the 18 to 24-year-old category say they will spend more than last year, and 39% of those in the 25 to 34-year-old category also plan to spend more this year. As for what consumers plan to buy as gifts, there's not much difference between this year and last year. 61% plan to give clothing and accessories, the same as last year. 59% will be giving gift cards. That's up from 56% last year. Gifts of books, music, movies, or video games is unchanged at 44%, while toys are down from 42% to 41%. Food or candy is up from 31% to 34%, and electronics is down slightly from 30% to 29%. The survey also found that 38% of consumers plan to donate money to a charity or cause, and 37% plan to donate items, including holiday meals for needy families. Of those donating, 80% said it would have no effect on their overall holiday spending. While the survey shows that consumers are more willing to buy gifts this year, it doesn't say whether they'll be using cash or credit. How consumers approach holiday spending can impact their overall financial health for months. On today's Sound Living, steps that can help avoid a financial hangover come January. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman. K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Specialist Elizabeth Kish says that budgeting for the holidays should include more than just how much you plan to spend on gifts for family and friends.
When we talk about holiday spending, it's all of the things you might spend for the holiday, right? So you're going to eat anyway, but you're probably going to spend more on food from now till the end of the year than you might otherwise spend in a certain period of time. So it's the food, it's the gifts, it's any sort of party decorations or household decorations. You might have utility bills if you decorate your house and have lots of lights, or if you entertain, you might have different utility bills. So think about it in the whole budget, and it's not just one category. It's not just the gift category.
Determining how much you want to spend really is an individual decision. It's going to vary from family to family. But what are some things that we should keep in mind in terms of making it fit within our budget?
Well, and I think that's the very most important part, is making it fit within your budget. And how you do that, again, will depend on what your family traditions are, how much money you feel comfortable spending, and it probably will also have something to do with how you've planned ahead. If you've saved for the holidays, for example, in a Christmas Club account or regular saving, you might have more cash on hand. If you're planning to finance your holidays with credit cards, let me say, please be careful and really think about how much you might be paying when you buy an item, but how much those items will ultimately cost you, especially if you don't pay off your credit card every month. So you'll be paying interest. Again, it's all about what your family traditions might be, what you think is important. Some families, they have agreements, they have traditions, they spend very little on gifts, but they might spend a lot on food. Or, maybe food isn't all that important, but people go way out on gifts. So it's a matter of having these conversations with your family members and others. And again, another category of holiday spending has got to be workplace spending, right? And it's what sort of traditions you have at your workplace, which could involve food, could involve gifts. We send a lot of emails, but it's really fun, I think, still to get in the mail Christmas or holiday cards or New Year's cards, whatever you want to call them. And so you need to think about the postage and the cost for those as well if you have that tradition.
There's also, I think what you're kind of also hinting at is the fact that a lot of people travel over the holidays, whether it's Christmas or New Year's, and that can be a big expense too.
Yeah, traveling really can be a big expense. I mean, if you're going to fly, hopefully you've already gotten your tickets or you're waiting for that really good deal. So you're watching it carefully and you'll know what a good deal is when you see it. If you're going to drive, though, yes, you'll want to think about the cost of gasoline, making sure that your car is all serviced and, your tires are good and you've got all of that. There may be meals or just snacks along the way. So you might think about packing them rather than buying them since you're already celebrating. So yeah, there's just so many expenses that come at this time of year. It's very important to be deliberate, which is not to say that you need to deprive yourself or your family of anything, but it is probably going to take for all of us, regardless of our incomes, we need to think about what's most important to us and focus on the most important things and maybe let some other things go.
One thing that always helps is having a list so that you don't miss somebody, first of all, but secondly, just so that you have an idea of how many gifts you're going to be buying.
Right. So once you set your budget, sort of your total budget, and then your budget for gifts and food and decorations and transportation, whatever the big categories are for you, then within the gift category, think about, okay, this is how much money I have to spend just for gifts. And then these are all the people I need to buy for or to give a gift to or that I want to give a gift to. And then you have to figure out, okay, how can I make the two meet and what can I do? And keeping in mind, some gifts can be quite inexpensive. They can be modest. It can be a token. And it's not always a thing. It can be something intangible as well.
That can be an I will do this for you or something like that.
Right. You can say you will, the gift of time, either spending time with you, I will come visit you, but it's not going to be till summer or spring. Or I will watch your kids, or I might take care of your dog for you so you can go someplace. Some of those things, or I'll help you rake your leaves. We often tell children about that, you don't necessarily have to buy a gift, but you can do something for someone else. And I think adults would do well to think about that as well.
A lot of good ideas that you can find online, although really I think not only are people finding good ideas online, they're purchasing online.
Right. So online shopping, as with other years, it continues to go up and up, and the percentage of people who use online sites to shop, when I say shop, I mean look and get a feel for what's out there, but then also to buy and to have something either shipped to you or shipped directly to the recipient is, according to the National Retail Federation, likely to increase again over last year, which was more than the year before. So I think, we know that we do these things on our phones, on our tablets, laptops, everywhere, right?
Well, and everybody's looking for the best price, and a lot of times that's one of the ways they do it. There's apps out there now that will actually compare prices.
Right, there are, and some stores have apps that will help you compare, and if you find a better price at a different store, you can take that and show it if you happen to be one place. So especially for those gifts that are going to be really popular, the it gifts I think we've talked about in the past, those are the ones that you can probably find different prices, so look for the best price on it. Think about who you're buying for, what you might consider as a gift for them, and then just start looking and become familiar with what sort of the typical price is so that you can recognize a good price. As a consumer, we need to know what it is we're looking for, what is a good price for us, and what we're willing to pay.
We mentioned that stores will often have some, almost lost leaders in essence in some of their merchandising. Another thing they're going to probably ask you at the register is, do you want to open up a store account? If you do, you can say 5% or 10% today only. That might be a good deal, but let's talk about some of the pros and cons of those store cards.
Sure. So the store cards, the pro is on that day or for that purchase, you may save a decent amount of money. The con is that you may then have another credit account that perhaps you don't need. You may not pay it off, so then you may just start using it, and so you'll be racking up more debt. And if you don't pay it off, whatever you saved, you could lose by paying it in interest and service charges. So you really have to think about what is your traditional practice when it comes to shopping. And, one thing that you can really do is take the money out, use cash, or if you prefer check or debit card, but start an envelope. And as you make purchases, or you can even write your shopping list on the outside of the envelope and about how much you want to spend and where you're going to go for this particular gift. Then as you buy the items, put the receipt in the envelope, because you should keep the receipt and also get a gift receipt. And then you can keep track of how much you've spent, so you won't sort of get into this mindless whirl of either just spending cash, writing checks, charging it, because we really can lose track of what we're doing. It doesn't take long, actually.
And one thing that they also suggest is going online and finding one of the payment calculators and figuring out if you do charge so much on your credit card and only pay the minimum, how long that will take you to pay it off. And that will probably, if nothing else, make you pay more than the minimum payment.
Well, hopefully, yes, you will pay more than the minimum payment. And, they call that the January credit hangover, right? And for good reason, because a lot of people do end up with this sort of credit hangover, and then they're looking forward to their tax refund to sort of get back on track. And so I guess I would challenge people and encourage people to maybe try something different this year and don't go for the credit card hangover, and just sort of recalibrate your holiday. There are some, in addition to doing things or spending time with people, there are other things that you can do. You might have something in your cupboard that you're not using, or if you have multiples of something that someone else could really benefit from and really appreciate having. And it doesn't cost you any money. It just takes some time and some thoughtfulness. And so those kind of things are really also very much what the holiday season is about, and can be more fun than buying a gift.
We were talking before about the fact that as people get older, they need fewer and fewer things, and some of those other ideas where you just do personal errands for them may be far more valuable than, another blender.
Right. Or, a lot of older people have pictures, the snapshots and all the little pictures. Maybe they like them sorted and labeled, or to go through some of the boxes in the attic or the basement and help them sort some of these things out. And not only do you help them do something, you spend the time and you get to share the memories with them, and you learn more about a different time.
One other thing we might mention is the fact that a lot of local retailers, just like the national chains, they rely on this business throughout the holiday season to kind of make their year too. So don't forget about the local guys.
Right. There's always buy local and the local merchants, and they may have a special day or a special day of the week where they really encourage consumers in your area to shop locally. Even if you're buying from big box stores, but if you buy it locally, that helps to keep your friends and neighbors employed in that local store.
I guess really what we're saying is, just like with any financial decision, think it out. It's always an emotional time because you want to make everybody happy by buying them just the perfect gift. But keep in mind that you do have a budget, and eventually this all has to be paid off one way or another, either upfront or in a few months.
In a few months, and, as fast as this year has come to a close, so will next year, I suspect, and you'll be starting over again, and you don't want to just keep adding debt upon debt. Just really stop and, if you can, think about what it is you want to get out of the holiday season. Can also cut down on some of the stress that people feel, and this idea of it has to be perfect or memorable, or children remember how they feel probably more than the gifts. So make it feel wonderful and not stressful.
That's K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Specialist Elizabeth Kish. More information on budgeting and personal finance is available at all county and district extension offices, as well as on the extension website, www.ksre.ksu.edu, www.ksre.ksu.edu. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.